football players? Man, they beat them people up so daggone bad and just throw them in the trash when they done with them. You broke your leg? Up. Get out of here, Buster. Send your little brother over here. We can make him stop. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, and subscribe because it is so important to our success here on the YouTube. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please remember to hit the Patreon link below and or the join button to be privy to all the shenanigans if the YouTube gets it. Or before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Okay, my bad, y'all. Now, let's talk about the final part of Mary Wilson's DreamGirl, My Life as a Supreme. So where we left off, okay, the three girls are on a gig. Okay, three girls meaning Cindy Birdsong, Mary Wilson, and Diana Ross. Okay, now Diana Ross and Berry DeGordy are waiting in the wings to be called on stage. Okay, now basically Berry DeGordy is Jerry Maguiring Diana Ross. You can do this, baby. You can do this. Rubbing her shoulders. You got this. You got this. You got this. Don't worry about nothing. Don't worry about them girls. Don't worry about the name. Don't worry about nothing. Just focus on you. And as they were saying that malarkey, they didn't know that Mary heard it all. When Diana turned to see that Mary was right there hearing what Berry had just told her, Mary said that she could sense a piece of her old friend. A sense of shame and embarrassment. Nonetheless, Mary Wilson said when they got out on the stage, Diana Ross followed his orders to a T. Diana Ross did not acknowledge the girls at all. This slight was the last blow. I suspected that things would probably get worse before they got better, and I'd either have to ride it out or leave. My friends from the club, Bravo, Dionne Warwick, Leslie Uggams. Ain't Leslie Uggams, man. You talking about old and pretty. Now, they call me old and pretty. But Leslie Uggams, oh my God, old and beautiful. But let's move forward. Mira Walters, Lola Falana. Oh, in my mind, I want to be Lola. I still want to be Lola Falana. Oh my, just her name is like, ooh. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Yvonne Fair and Nancy Wilson, with Lena Horne as den mother, often gave me refuge. Okay, so I'm glad that she had other celebrity friends that would support her. She said when it was clear that Diane was separating from the group and that she was going to be leaving the group eventually, she said that, many people called her, including Paul McCartney ass. Okay, Paul McCartney, you don't remember that time when we was over there in the hotel with y'all and y'all thought that we were supposed to give up, our supreme panties to you just because you was a Beatle? Answer no. I don't care how many Beatles you got. Okay, I don't know and don't care what kind of Beatle you are. Okay, but no, you can't have my underwear. But even Paul McCartney called her and said, "Are you okay, Mary?" Okay, so she did have support, but that didn't take away the pain of it all. So now the Mary Wilson that was, put together on the outside, but, having issues on the inside is now frayed. Okay. Now her troubles are starting to wear on her outwardly. Mary Wilson was in her room. Okay. Sulking, probably trying to cry her way out of whatever she thought was next for her. Okay. And Nancy Wilson called her and said, hey, girl, come on over. Let's just talk, maybe drink some wine. Just, let's just be together and support each other. So Mary Wilson got herself together, went over to Nancy Wilson's room. Okay. Now, while she was there, Nancy Wilson's hairdresser was there working on Nancy Wilson's hair. Now, the hairdresser had said to her, listen, when I get finished with Nancy Wilson's hair, how would you feel if I worked on your hair too? Okay. Nancy Wilson was like, go for it, girl. I mean, my hairdresser is the truth. Go for it. Mary sat in the chair to get her hair done. That time she got, I think it was, what she said, a relaxation treatment. I'm like, a relaxer? What the fuck is a relaxation treatment? Is that a TCB or something? But nonetheless, I'm okay, a relaxing treatment. Okay. But when the girl put it in her hair was falling out in clumps. Now, Mary Wilson is very well aware that because she had been so stressed out about what was happening with the girls or with the Supremes, that she noticed that her hair was falling out. So when she got that perm, it exacerbated it, or relaxing treatment, okay? It exacerbated it, and tons of her hair was coming out. She said that she just broke down in tears and she was a wreck. But it was not because her hair fell out. It was just that moment. You know how sometimes you holding things in and then one thing could happen and you be like, who the fuck left this pencil on the floor? Who the fuck pencil is this? Pick this fucking pencil. And the next thing you know, you crying over a pencil. But you're not crying over that pencil per se. You're crying over everything that was on the inside. So Mary Wilson said that she was inconsolable in that moment. Nancy Wilson called her mother and her doctor to meet her at the room. Okay. I mean, that's money. Okay. When you can call your doctor and the doctor come, oh, Mary, we here. The mother consoled her child and the doctor gave her some advice. The doctor spoke very frankly and candidly with her. My friend and Dr. Herbert Avery and his wife, Manalo, arrived from Los Angeles. We talked. I told him all about what was going on with the Supremes and my personal life with Tom. See, that's another thing that stress you out. See what I mean? Messing with them married men, be passionate and loving and romantic. It be a whirlwind of emotions. But that will stress you out. You hear me? It'll stress you out. That's why I've been running around the world having the time of my life, I thought. This episode made me realize how much of a mess my life was. Dr. Avery gave me some advice and I resolved to straighten things out. I knew the relationship with Tom had to end and that I had to stop holding everything inside. So back at her home in Los Angeles, she met a neighbor, Jim Brown, the football player. He introduced me to a young basketball player from UCLA named Michael Warren. Hold the fuck on, Clarence. Hold on. Not my Michael Warren, not Hill Street Blues Michael Warren. The two of us hit it off right away. He was still in college when we met, but that didn't stop me from falling in love with him. Oh my gosh, I told y'all my moon is in Pisces, okay? Now, as a Libra, you know we can fall in love with anything. I had fell in love with this measuring cup today. Now, she also mentions adopting her cousin's son, okay? Her cousin, was a baby maker, okay? And they both agreed that, maybe Mary should have the son, okay? And basically, if you remember, this is pretty much what happened with her, okay? In the beginning of the book, you know, her mother couldn't afford to keep all of her children, even though she gave away married and had a couple more after that. But the mother couldn't afford all the children, so she had gave Mary to her sister Ivy. Okay, now and eventually Mary found out that Ivy wasn't her real mother, but the same exact situation happened here with Mary and her cousin. I was happy to have Willie, meaning her little cousin that she adopted, but it was quite an adjustment. Mike was there with me every step of the way. Mike, I often said to him, with your good looks and charm, I think you have the potential to make it in the business. Do you really think so, Mary? He would say shyly. Heck yeah, you should give it a try. He tried his ass on the Hill Street Blues, and he got my ticket. Ooh, I used to love that show, Hill Street Blues. Getting back to the relationship with Berry Gordy and Diana, snitches get stitches, Ross, okay? Murray said that it was hard to see where the relationship was headed. They were still going strong, but it didn't look like commitment was anywhere in sight, okay? And she knew this because she knew that Diana Ross started messing with Tim Brown, Philadelphia Eagle, okay? I keep telling y'all, don't mess with that football money. That football money is short. You hear me? If they break a leg, they out. Mess with old NBA player, okay? Because when they sign on, they set. They get their money up front. They get their millions or gazillions dollars up front. Here you go. Them football players, man, they beat them people up so daggone bad and just throw them in the trash when they done with them. You broke your leg? Up. Get out of here, Buster. Send your little brother over here. We can make him a star. Barry had been having his fun, too, bringing Chris Clark on the road while he was seeing Diane. Now, this case right here, now remember before I said that I thought, you know, Diana Ross was doing some little extra activities with that fashion model from the Europa, okay? This time right here, I don't think that at all. You know, Chris Clark seemed like she was competition for Diane. In October, we hosted the Hollywood Palace, which meant that Diane hosted the Hollywood Palace. Okay, and we just sang. On this show, Diane introduced the Jackson 5 in their first national television appearance. Everyone in Motown knew that Bobby Taylor of the Vancouvers had discovered the Jackson 5 and had told Barry about them. Hold, I am so sick of this bullshit, y'all. I am sick of this. I read one book that said Tommy Chong found them, okay? This book right here said that, who's this dude? Bobby Taylor found them. Before I started reading these books, for the longest time, I thought it was Diana Ross that found them. But according to the book, what happened was Diana Ross was so smitten by them because, you know, talking to Barry felt really enthusiastic about the group and felt like, you know, that because Diana Ross is like the hottest ticket right now on Motown, Berry Gordy felt like Diana should be introducing them to the world. Okay, so a lot of people thought that it was Diana. Right now, it's way too many people out here. Some people say this, some people say that, some people say this. It makes me want to read a book, right? But I don't believe the Jacksons will ever be forthcoming with anything that they write, okay? Because they got too many secrets and they don't want people in their business. Strangely, we never talked about her leaving. I mean, Diane and I never said two words to each other about it. Like everyone else in the world, I read about it in the paper. Once it was an open subject, Barry and I discussed possible replacements, but there didn't seem to be too much of a rush to decide. Fan magazines were holding polls to see who readers thought should take Diane's place, and Tammy Terrell seemed to be their favorite. But we know Tammy Terrell could not have done it ultimately because of her own concerns, right? One day, Barry said, I found somebody when I met Jean Terrell, the sister of the boxer Ernie Terrell, but no relation to Tammy Terrell. I liked her immediately. This is the end to Tom, okay? It always ends the same way when you're dealing with married men, okay? It just always ends the same way, right? They make it seem, like some passionate love affair, all these different things, when for real, Murray the Wilson, he probably was working on your replacement long before we got here. Okay. So my relationship with Tom was coming to a close. We both realized that our feelings were too serious for us to keep chasing each other around the world. We were at my home in Hollywood, and I was throwing one of my usual parties. There were people all over the place, and Tom and I were alone in my room. We both knew what was coming. "Mary," he said, "I don't think this is fair to you. There is no future for us, and I think we should break away from this affair now." After he didn't hold your vagina out, I had to agree. He wasn't going to leave his wife, and I had always known that. I was crying. But when we said goodbye at my door, I knew we were doing the right thing. No, you was doing the only thing, because he was done with you. In early December, Cindy was kidnapped from the Hollywood apartment by the building maintenance man. She escaped from him several hours later by jumping from his moving car on the freeway. Been there, done that. Been there, done that before. Do you know how many cars I had to jump out of in my life to get away from some crazy ass nigga that thought that I belonged to them? Child bang. On Wednesday, January 14th, 1970, Diana Ross and the Supremes gave their final farewell performance at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas. Looking back over the past couple of years, I could see that everything had been leading up to this. I will say this again. Don't you ever, ever, ever get comfortable in somebody else's dream. Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever get comfortable in somebody else's dream. The farewell performance was scheduled to begin at midnight. I sat in my dressing room sipping champagne and quickly putting on my makeup, doing the same things I had done 1,000 times before. As showtime drew nearer, I felt exhilarated, and I went on stage determined to enjoy myself. Good for you, Mary. Good for you. The moment I heard the laughter die and the applause begin, I knew Willie Tyler and his dummy Lester had finished their act, and within minutes, we would be standing on that stage. As we stood in the wings awaiting our cue, Diane and I glanced at each other in silence. There were no goodbyes or good lucks, not even a hug. We could have done those things, but we both knew it would have been fake. Now, Mary Wilson recalls this night, okay? And she says it happened like this. As usual, Diane upstaged the girls. That's nothing new, okay? But the exhilarating part was that this night was the last night that they had to deal with Diane and her bullsnit. Okay, I could respect that relief. I actually could. Finally, the show was winding down, and at the first chords of "Someday We'll All Be Together" were played, Diane said, "We won't be together on stage as a team, but we'll always be together in our hearts." After several standing ovations, the Frontiers Entertainment Director, Frank Senna, presented us with a plaque from the hotel, the first for their wall of fame. Motown had worked overtime to make everything about the farewell and Diane's departure seem friendly, and I had cooperated. I was happy for Diane, but now I needed to be by myself, or at least with real friends. She doesn't know exactly what's happening. She knows that the Supremes will go on with a new lead singer, but for real, how well would they do? Okay, so she's in her head. She don't want to be bothered with nobody after that farewell, someday we'll be together, presentation. Okay, she's in her head. She's sleeping. Okay, and much like myself, when I'm in my head, I want to lay down. Leave me alone. I need to think. I need to sleep and think. Okay. Sometimes I don't want to get up and maneuver until I have an answer. I always find a resolve, but while I'm trying to come up with the resolve, leave me the fuck alone. Then all of a sudden the phone rings. Brrring. Hello, I mumbled into the receiver, which I couldn't even see. Who is this? Murray? I knew it was Barry. I couldn't believe my ears. He knew I slept late. What could he possibly want at this ungodly hour? Barry spoke briefly about the farewell celebration. Then he dropped the bomb. I don't like Jean, he proclaimed. Jean Terrell. What are you talking about? I had to be dreaming. I want to replace her with Sarita Wright. Murray, do you hear me? Barry asked when I was silent for a minute. I want to replace Jean with Sarita. No, Barry. All right, Barry replied. Then I washed my hands of the group. Barry hung up, and I decided that the Supremes were going to work no matter what. I'd make it happen. And indeed, she did make it happen. Despite Barry's lack of interest in our career, the Supremes went on to have several more major hits. Up the Ladder to the Roof, Stoned Love, River Deep, Mountain High, With the Four Tops. Cindy left the group in 1972 and was replaced by Lydia Lawrence. The next year, when Lydia Lawrence and Jean decided to quit the Supremes, Cindy returned and Sherry Payne, Frida's sister, took over the lead spot. When Cindy left for the second time in 1976, Suzanne Green stepped in. Finally, in 1977, the Supremes were officially disbanded. Now, if you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, and subscribe because it is so important to our success here on the YouTube. Now, remember this. The same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves. You babies, have a good one.